Hello all. So in the last session we have discussed about NLP tasks. We have looked into some of the important NLP tasks which actually helps us in understanding how do we process different NLP applications. So today in this session I would be discussing about how do we develop the NLP applications and what is the structure we follow for developing these NLP applications. First, let's look into how do we develop these NLP applications. When I talk about different NLP applications that we have discussed, the important steps that we actually consider in developing these applications are divided basically into the following things. So first we go for research, development and operations. So as you can clearly see in the picture, first we start with research. When I talk about research, the data collection, depending upon the problem statement, what kind of data we require and from where do we collect them, and after that analyzing that particular data that we've collected, experimenting on that data is very important to carry on with any NLP task. After that we train the data, we implement the model, we deploy the model and we continuously monitor that particular data or the model to complete the process of NLP application. Okay, so the development of NLP application is completely an iterative process consisting of these three major operations, starting with research, development and operations. Let's look into each of them in detail. So first we start with data collection. When I talk about data collection, we have been doing this since we started learning machine learning and deep learning. So as I already told you, all the model applications of NLP are basically dependent on machine learning algorithms, right? So any NLP task that you carry out, we require a machine learning algorithm or a machine learning model. Okay, so for performing these tasks on machine learning models, we require data. Okay, so when we talk about data, we collect the data from different sources and upon taking that particular data, we develop these NLP models and then we train them. Okay, now when I talk about data collection, data can be collected from humans. That is, for example, you can collect data from the real-time data from a medical, you can collect medical data, or you can collect data from academics, you can collect data from anywhere. Next source of collecting the data is crowdsourcing. That is, we have so many platforms wherein we get the ready-made data, we collect them, and also we can collect the data from automated mechanisms, right? So this is the first step of carrying out any NLP task. And second one is, once you collect the data, we have to analyze the data and experiment that particular data. Okay, so this is the next phase to run all our NLP task. Okay, so when I talk about analysis, okay, so we have to think about few points. The first thing which comes into picture is, what are the characteristics of the text? Okay, how are the training labels distributed, right? And then how can we correlate the training labels? How can we come up with some rules that can predict the training labels to get the desired accuracy? Should we actually use the machine learning model, or do I have to go for a deep learning model depending upon the requirement or the problem statement? Okay, so this particular phase includes all the aspects of data science. Along with that, when I talk about NLP, I also have to consider statistical techniques and I also have to consider linguistic approaches. Okay, not just machine learning. When I talk about analysis of data for NLP applications, I have to consider the linguistic features. I also have to consider the statistical descriptions along with the machine learning models. Okay, and the next step is training. Once I collect the data, I analyze them and understand them. After that, I train the model. Okay, so this is where you start adding more data and the computational resources for training the model. Okay, now it is not uncommon. Modern NLP, these modern NLP models require huge data. As I told you in the earlier classes, the voice data, when I talk about my class today, I speak so many words in this particular session. So processing all these words require lot of time to process, right? So we use neural network models, that is deep learning model. So this is the critical phase actually, training the human language is a critical phase in the entire development cycle. Okay, chances are you will have to run this model several times with different set of hyperparameters to get the desired accuracy. See, when we have worked on machine learning models, it was easy when we compare to deep learning, wherein to get the desired accuracy we have gone for hyperparameter tuning, right? So when I talk about NLP, you may have to repeat this process n number of times to get the desired accuracy. Okay, next is implementation. Okay, after you train your model, we'll start implementing the model. Okay, so this is called as implementation phase. Okay, so once you are done with this, then your model, NLP model, will be production ready. Okay, so when I talk about implementation phase, writing unit, we write the data and then we integrate the test modules, and then we review that particular data to improve the performance. Okay, and then deploy. Once we implement the model, we deploy the NLP model into some applications. Okay, it can be an online service, it can be a recruiting batch job, it can be an offline application or any kind of offline task. Okay, so if this is online service, it needs to serve its predictions in real time. Okay, so all of you might know about what deploying actually is all about. And then not just deploying, for NLP task, continuous monitoring is required. So monitoring here plays a crucial role for all the NLP applications. Okay, now when I talk about monitoring, there are few questions that comes into picture at this stage. Okay, for example, what do the input instances look like? Are they what you expected when you built your model? What do the prediction labels look like, because we are dealing with natural language processing? Does the predicted label distribution match the one in the training data or not? Okay, and all that stuff. So basically this monitoring is actually useful to check that the model we have built is behaving the way we expected. That is, if the incoming text or data or the predicted label is not matching your expectations, you may have an out of domain problem, meaning that the domain of the natural language data you are receiving is different. Okay, next, that was all about developing NLP applications. Okay, so for developing NLP applications, these are the different phases. Okay, so that is starting with data collection, experimenting and analyzing, training, implementation, deploying and monitoring. So this is the complete development process of NLP system. Next, when we talk about structure, okay, so the structures of modern machine learning based NLP applications are becoming surprisingly similar for two main reasons. Okay, first thing is, all of the NLP applications rely on machine learning algorithms to some degree. That is, they use machine learning algorithm for all the applications, first thing. Second thing is, due to advent of neural network model, the number of NLP tasks can be trained from end to end. Okay, so we use machine learning algorithms, we use deep learning models to execute all the applications of NLP. So basically the structure of NLP applications requires the machine learning models and neural network models, that is deep learning architectures. Okay, now this is a typical architecture or typical structure of NLP applications. So it is basically divided into two phases: training infrastructure, serving infrastructure. Okay, so let us first talk about training infrastructure. I take a training data, I give that to dataset reader, I use different neural network models for carrying out the NLP task. After that, the training will go for batching, optimizer, and the output of this trainer model is given to the serving infrastructure. Okay, so I have this training infrastructure, I have this serving infrastructure. Okay, so let's look into the serving infrastructure. The output of the training infrastructure from the model is given to this. Okay, so wherein the predicted will be done based on the new instances, the dataset reader again, transformer, and the prediction wherein the comparison actually takes place. Okay, now the training infrastructure, that is the top one, is usually the offline model, which actually serves the purpose of training the entire NLP model. Okay, it takes the data, converts the data into some structure, and then process the data by transforming the data into the exact features, and then it applies to the NLP model which tries to minimize the loss, and that particular model will be generated. Okay, once that is generated, it gives to serving infrastructure. Now this serving infrastructure actually takes a new instance, produce the prediction such as classes, tags or translation, the NLP task, and the first part of the infrastructure which reads this instance, and then this transforms it into some numbers. Okay, so other discrepancies will arise when you process this particular data while serving. So one such discrepancy is called as training serving skew. Okay, so when we do this particular thing, we get this training serving skew when you do this particular prediction part. Okay, so this is all about serving infrastructure and training infrastructure, and these are the two steps for the structure of NLP applications. Okay, so the development of NLP applications and the structure of NLP applications which are based on training and serving. Thank you.